On today's episode of Kult America, I am exploring Warsaw's abandoned past. There are many fascinating things about the building which stands behind me. For one, it was built in the 1930s, and at the time it was the second tallest skyscraper in all of Europe. This building was constructed by a British insurance company which were selling their policies locally in Poland. I think it's interesting because in a way this building is a symbol of the early global village. Now, during the Second World War, this building took so much artillery hits that it was completely demolished and stood crooked. Amazingly, they renovated the building, rebuilt it, converted it into a hotel, but the pictures which were taken of this building in its destructed state were used as anti-war posters internationally. So in a way, this building stands as a symbol of the international global village and also a gesture of how war can hurt humanity. Próżna Street was once one of the richest places in Warsaw. This is where the big shots lived. And one factory owner actually owned a building here where you could rent beautiful flats and live in luxury. Unfortunately, because of the politics of the Second World War, the building found itself inside of the Jewish ghetto, and from that time it has sat in absolute decay and ruin. Beyond these gates actually once stood one of Europe's largest beer factories. And beyond the remains of that factory is a building which is being demolished right now. Some of the buildings that I've come across today actually look as if they could be abandoned. Take this one for instance. It's got a shop, it's got occupied apartments, but if you look closely, you'll find that not every apartment has an inhabitant. In fact, some have been sitting empty for years and years and years. What's more, if you enter the corridor of this building, the courtyard, it's filthy and disgusting as if it were an abandoned building itself. Oh, this is interesting. And it looks like the actual structure of the building is so compromised that they needed to metally reinforce it.
Wysokiego będę miała.
Constructed in the late 1800s, the house standing behind me was the first on Warsaw Street to be built entirely of brick. That being said, it's also one of the oldest houses in the Wola region of Warsaw. Although if you look at the condition, I doubt any inhabitants will be returning in the near future. On this barricade wall, someone took the liberty of warning us that entering the territory could result in death. And I wonder if the people who once inhabited these great buildings could have seen into the future, that their building would be surrounded by a wall that warns visitors of death. What would they feel about their home? That's just not in the imagination. When exploring Warsaw either by foot or by car, it's marvelous how rapidly this city has grown. Modern skyscrapers are going up constantly. But below those skyscrapers stand abandoned buildings such as the one at Twarda 28. This building actually survived the Second World War and today has come to ruin. Now, I didn't find any information as to why the building is abandoned, but I suspect it has something to do with the complication of not being able to find original owners after the war. That being said, if you know something more about this building, write me in the comments section below. During the Second World War, the building behind me stood inside of the Warsaw Ghetto. Since 2012, it's been labeled a monument to commemorate the memory of the events in those times. The building behind me also survived the Second World War, and I see a trend because it was renovated in the 1950s. Balconies were removed for practical purposes, and today, once again, it stands empty in the center of Warsaw. Now this building, unlike the previous ones, shows very little sign of human touch. I tried to look inside of the windows and I can't see curtains and blinds and lights. This one looks empty and demolished. But there are some beautiful details which remain, such as the statue that is monumentally sitting atop the building. I try to imagine modern builders implementing such artwork in their creations today. For years, I've been wandering around Poland and admiring these old abandoned buildings. These abandoned buildings show us the passage of time. And these passages of time are especially amplified in a place like Poland, where there's so much progress, so much new. This contrast is powerful. The old buildings give us reference to show us where we came from and to help us give foundation to the future we are building.